lighting a candle?
No. Alright, remember, talking to the microphones. Oh my gosh. Tight space.
Okay.
Alright, here we are at the Alley Ranch podcast. Not sure what number we're on, Joe, but
That's not important. The only thing important today is that we have our first guest.
we have our first guest of the podcast. It is my old friend from boarding school, Daniel Janzen the Canadian. So, go for it, Daniel.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing my own introduction since I believe that Anthony's was not sufficient. I am Daniel Wenceslaus Philip Jansen. I am indeed Canadian, although my heritage is Germanic and Slovenian. I have been boarding here since I was in 8th grade. I am now a senior. I'm going to be graduating this year, and it is a privilege to be joining Alley Ranch podcast hosted in my house at the border house of Mater Dei Academy. I am their first guest star, and I hope that I will live up to this privilege.
So something I like to do is, just to make it a little more comfortable for you, I like to hold the microphone like this. Just so you don't have to constantly be going down, because we don't have a high table, things of that nature.
This is comfortable.
It's not. I hold it like this.
Okay, so if I hold it like that, I don't stand the risk of it just falling apart.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
I hold it like this. Sometimes I hold it like this. Sometimes I recline, but here we're in very tight quarters here. That's electrical tape, if you're wondering.
I just thought I smelled something a little more dubious. Thought I picked up traces of the devil's lettuce. I don't know why.
That's Jacob's microphone. I don't know.
Breathing on it, probably.
No, I don't think Jacob doesn't smoke weed, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
But so if you haven't noticed yet, these are like PA microphones, so you have to hold the button down. So.
Oh, to record this one right here.
No, but see, that's what the tape
holds it.
Oh, so it's just held together already. So, all right, Joseph, enough of that. That's
my
very
fruit
annoying.
to go.
We could just have a chewing food ASMR for our audience. Second.
Here, just take it out of the plastic.
But it's all sticky.
I know. All right, so we'll just hop right into it here.
Okay.
We were just at Tenebrae for a couple hours, which is you're going to be able to explain it better than me, I bet.
Oh, I really wish you hadn't put that on me. Tenebrae, it's when you chant the Passion, right?
That's what I've gathered from Mariah and others. They just chant the Passion and different psalms and different prophecies from Old Testament prophets, and I don't know what else to say about it besides there's 15 candles, and every time they get done chanting a section, they put a candle out, and at the end, you got something?
It's every time they finish a psalm, I believe.
Every time they finish a psalm, they put a candle out, and then at the very top candle, because it's kind of in a triangular shape, the very top candle, I'm assuming, I know it represents Jesus, because then they turn all the lights out in the church, and then everyone, the bishop and all the priests and seminarians kneel in front of it, and then I wasn't sure what prayer they were saying at the end, but it was very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of hard to stay awake, not gonna lie, because we drove like 8.5 hours today, so I was a little tired, but I'm glad we stayed for the whole thing, because we were debating on leaving early and getting this started, because it's about 9:30, which isn't bad, but I'm glad we stayed.
Mm-hmm. Because if we'd left, then we'd probably have disclosed that fact to our audience, and that would have really painted us in a pretty bad light.
It would have incriminated us for
Yeah,
sure,
definitely.
especially if anyone, from... Oh, so, Daniel, how about I'll give some backstory to when I boarded here,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about the years since then.
Great.
I don't know if it works still. I think you have to talk directly into the microphone for it to work very well.
Like right up to it, like this.
That's why I hold it like this.
Okay, and is this just so that
It's mostly so they pick it up, because in podcasts previously we tried to listen to some and the audio quality is just very poor, which is why I want to upgrade this equipment, but this will do for now,
Alright.
I suppose. But
good.
Anyway, so we all three have boarded here for a time. Joseph has come here for like a month at a time or for a week. I was here the latter half of my senior year. And when I was here, there was about, I want to say, 15-ish boarders, maybe less. But really great group of guys. I'd mention them all, but I'd definitely forget someone, and then they'd probably feel bad. But
yeah, they'll watch the video and just be PO'd.
They will unsubscribe
Yeah.
and dislike the video. But I had a really great time when I boarded here. I know at first, I didn't like it, obviously, just because the border life isn't glamorous. You are at the bottom of the you're at the bottom of the totem pole in like the hierarchy of the community. If there's ever a feast or anything like that, ever some type of, big event going on, we're basically the
Yeah, Bishop pretty much utilizes us at any event as a joke. People are like, yes, and just a friendly reminder to everyone, except the border boys, of course, because you guys are all going last in the food line. Isn't that funny? All you
Or he'll
locals
just
and
say,
parishioners.
hey, don't eat. Go into the
Or
border.
yeah, he'll just send us like maybe we'll have like a dinner already prepared for us in the house, some fish in the oven that we can just take out.
How about fish pizza?
Some fish tacos where the
If we're
head
lucky.
is still in there.
Okay, where were we? Yes, so it was great the year I was here. I made actually, I'd say, okay, don't know what Joe's doing, but I'd say out of a lot of my friends from public school and a lot of my friends from Omaha, I've been closer to my Omaha friends than my public school friends for sure. I've stayed up to date with them, and I see them more often, and I think it's mostly just because we have something in common, with the faith. And if you're hearing something odd, it's because Joseph's amplifier is picking up a radio station from somewhere in Omaha here. So, I think you just gotta hold it like that. That must be the best way for it. No. I think that's the best way. All right, Daniel.
Okay.
So now, give us the deets.
Well, first I was actually gonna ask you a question, because I know I'm the guest star at this podcast, but like I haven't seen you in such a long time, Anthony.
Yes.
And seeing as I'll be leaving tomorrow morning, I was also gonna use this as a chance to catch up with you and Joseph.
Of course.
Okay. And these are also questions that I should have asked you years ago.
Okay.
But this is a podcast. This is a time for a Q&A.
This is for posterity.
Yes, for future generations. Okay, so what I wanted to ask you was, you said that you had more in common and you would remember your border boy friends here at school more so than your public school friends. But I have to ask you, which one would you say you enjoyed hanging out with more? Granted, we're Catholic, that's great, but the activities
which
that
group
you
did I have more fun with?
Yeah, the activities that you do with them, were they funner than the stuff that you do with us here?
Well, okay. So, I'm trying to think of the activities I partook with my friends at home, which was either sports, which is great. Playing competitive sports is actually really amazing, and it's sad that we can't do that here, playing against other schools, because that is actually a really good bonding experience with a lot of your friends. So I'd say that's a really good time. But other than that, it was mostly kids would just go to parties at each other's houses, and I would never go to those because my mother wouldn't let me go. So I missed out on those, which is a good thing when you think about it, because all that happens at the parties is drinking and then dumb drinking antics. And besides that, with some of our friends we go, this is the type of the rural ranchy stuff, we just go and shoot stuff, which is great, which I want to do more with my Catholic friends, because so many of them live in cities besides you. You're kind of a farmy boy, so I guess that's something I do with my hometown friends, is we just go and drive around and shoot stuff, animals or street signs. But I guess the reason why the border memories are more vivid for me is just because when you live in a house with the same group of dudes, and for me it was from the end of October, so it was from like November to May when I graduated. So only like 4 or 5 months, if that. But I mean, I don't know. You just bond with them because you're literally, first of all, this is a great thing that we never really think about at the time, but we don't get our devices, the phones. But I noticed when we would get our phones on a weekend, everyone would just be on them. You know what I mean? We'd kind of like, it's like, oh, we'd all go into our own little worlds, and kids would just be scrolling. Not me, because at the time I just had a slidey phone, so I had no like social media or anything like that. But we were just more connected because we were bored. So boredom led to, hey, let's go outside and like just do dumb stuff. Or one thing I remember in particular was you and Zach got dressing up as Mrs. Starkson.
So before you continue, who is like privy to watching these podcasts? Because I actually had this stipulation to make you before we begin. When we talk about probentual stories, stuff about the boys, like, is there a possibility that priests?
Yeah, for sure. There's a possibility. So I'll pull that story back.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, are we just gonna be speaking with the hope that they will overlook it because it's in the past, or?
Well, I mean, honestly, we would hope so because, we were children.
Mm-hmm.
You were only 14 years old when you did this stuff.
Yeah, I know the story you're alluding. Sadly, it has to stay an inside joke though because
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's plenty of other things we can talk about eventually. But yeah, I mean, just I don't know. I'd say the Border Boys take the cake just because we were so close and we always had to be with each other, and that led to good memories. Sometimes fighting and stuff, which is natural with adolescent teen boys, but no, I'd say the Border Boys have a special place in my heart, even though some of them I haven't seen since graduation, like Zach, Ian, Dominic. I haven't seen a lot of these guys since I graduated, but I still talk to them semi-regularly. Zach, actually, I haven't talked to in a long time, but I want to call him one of these days. So yeah, I guess that'd be my answer. Besides the sports, which is just great because competitive stuff. Yeah, Border Boys.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean when like you talk about how much greater it would be if our school had a sports team, because that's breeds camaraderie. That's gonna help us get together. If we win, we're gonna be like talking about that stuff. We're gonna have a reason to party. It's kind of like what we do like with the archery.
Yeah.
We had archery, and that does bring us together.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not like as physical as say like.
It's not like a team sport per se, but you still can talk about each other's accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
You're still a team because you're helping each other. What's it called? Moral support for each other.
Exactly. For the people that actually practice moral support, then there's those people that are just glory hogs and they
We have a visitor.
We have a visitor right now.
Joe Shedenhelm just came upstairs. We're doing a podcast right now. You wanna come say hi? So come over here.
Joe is a fugitive right now.
Hello there.
Joe is a 6th grader when I went to school here, so he's now a big tall guy, and I think he brought snacks.
No, they're just for you.
Bye, Joe.
Bye.
Thanks for the visit.
I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
We'll still be going.
Can you shut the door, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, there are those people. There are always those people in sports who are
Mm-hmm.
what you would call stat chasers or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, with archery, just that opportunity. Looking forward to going, out somewhere as a school. We get to flaunt our colors. Those lovely bumblebee,
yeah, the
yellow
big yellow
shirts. Like
construction
everyone,
workers.
Everyone knows who we are when we
And
go.
because you guys win, though,
That's
you
true.
guys are good.
Yeah.
What's your? Was there a streak of years where they won first place? I don't think they won first place last year, or they shut it down last year. Didn't
Well, yeah, last year we could have won first place. Bishop actually has said several times that last year was like the best team we've ever had.
they? Wow. I did not know that.
And yeah, like we could have taken it, maybe even won the trophy that's most coveted, which is the
1 second here.
oh okay.
Keep talking.
Oh, okay. The Good Sportsman one. It's the biggest out of all of them. I think you were here the year that we did win it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Like we had a really good team that year. No glory hogs. Everyone was just mutually supporting each other. And where was I going with this? Yeah, we would have taken it, but then COVID hit, so we all just filmed.
We'll just share.
we all just filmed it downstairs. Filmed our shooting, and then when we submitted the results, I don't even think like they were all taken into account because we had used like targets that weren't tournament standard.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was just pointless. It was
Aw.
garbage.
That sucks. Jeez. Okay. I'm gonna ask Joseph a question now.
Yeah, he's just been munching.
Yeah, you just and you're gonna have to use my microphone because we're having, for some reason, one of our amps is
Put it farther down. I think that'll work. But
Okay, talk through mine while I try to fix that. I was gonna ask you, what was it like last year staying for a month? What were your impressions? Did you make friends? Things of that nature. Go for it.
yeah, I think my first impression was this place sucks. I want to get out. Those were definitely my first impressions, but I think it wasn't actually that bad. I did make a lot of friends. I was friends with basically everybody here, even people I didn't know apparently. But yeah, there's a lot of good memories from just that 1 month of being here, like racing a go-kart around in the snow,
Oh.
not to mention the other thing.
That's another
Is
thing.
it one of those stories that has to stay? You know.
Well,
Off.
it doesn't have to stay.
Because it's been found.
It's been found.
Oh,
Oh.
all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Go for it.
Okay, so just have this context of this story. Oh, what the heck was that?
No big.
Airsoft fights were illegal in the border house.
Mhm.
And then one day, a great battle broke out with every kid in the border house, even those who didn't have a gun. They were defenseless against the rampage that swept through. So, 3...
Sorry. This is terrible.
Anthony, this is a story that Joseph is telling it perfectly, and then I also need to explain different elements of it
I understand.
in case like a priest might watch this, and then I could clear my name.
Alright, go for it, Joe.
Okay.
3
Keep talking.
brave religious soldiers known as Luis, Daniel, and Joseph took on the cassock and
Went to convert the infidel.
yes, we went to end the great violence. We went right up to the, should we call it lair? What would we
The
call
lair?
it?
The war zone. That's what it
Yeah.
was at the time.
We went right up to the main base of the army, and we pleaded for mercy for the little man. And yes, I think God prevailed on that one. It was, the violence ended very quickly after that, after making our way through a lot of gunfire.
It's a little different from how I remember it. I don't remember us being triumphant. I mean, I don't want to say that God did prevail, because, you know, God's always going to be victorious, but I think we, as instruments of God's will, did not succeed that day. We were punished severely.
Alright, go on to that part.
And so it happened that the cassocks were left in the care of Daniel Janzen to be disposed of. And
Return.
Put back.
Burned burn them. Burn the evidence.
To be taken back, but what the day after, Daniel was struck ill with a terrible sickness,
I was just tired.
and he was bedridden for 3 days. And then one day, one of the priests, should I name him?
Yes, because we're going to well,
You just say who it is. It's okay.
yeah, we can just say it.
Father
Just say
Selner was cleaning out the border house closet, and
Oh
I remember this fateful event vividly. He was cleaning out the closet, and he pulled out a long black piece of cloth, also known as a cassock. He pulled it out of the closet and went straight to me to ask what was going on and why it was there.
Why do you think he went straight to you?
That's a good question.
Because I was right behind him. I was just walking by.
We thought he went to Joseph because he was
I trust you.
Yeah.
You're an innocent boy.
I trust you though. He's just the closest one. What's going on?
Yeah, I think Michael was. I think Oliver was closest to him though. Wish you would have asked him. But he asked me where the cassock came from, and I told him you should go ask Daniel. So we went to Daniel and went and asked him about the cassocks, and Daniel confessed everything for us. Then we went through Daniel's room and actually found out that the 3 cassocks were in his room, so where did the 4th one come from? That's my question.
Oh, there was a 4th one.
So he found the one that you didn't even have anything to do with?
Yes.
Wow.
That is strange. Maybe we inspired someone to don the cloth as well. But we never got to publicly see their transition.
Maybe we're uncovering some.
Yeah. Who are you?
Who's the 4th cassock?
Who is the 4th Jesuit? Or I don't know what missionary.
Warrior
group we
monk.
were. Oh, yeah, we were the warrior monks. Okay. So there, you told the story beautifully, but now there are some elements to it that I do want to explain a little bit.
You lie!
Okay, I want to say firsthand that our intentions were completely honorable. Like Joseph said, there was warfare in the border house. It was unnecessary. There were innocents suffering on every front, and I had the idea to, hey, let's go put on cassocks, and we're Catholics. Let's solve this situation. Let's appeal to their better nature. So, we put the cassocks on. We even got a red cross, and I saw that. I was like, this is just this is a sign, we were meant to do this. Yeah, it's we got the red cross of the Templars. And at first, okay, maybe this wasn't good. Maybe we should have gone right away to fulfill our mission, but we practiced just processing around for a while, and we had this song that we all just chanted in unison, which was Hore ho, hore ho, hore hore, hore hore ho, hore ho. It was epic, and it went perfectly with it. And we were right out there. The audience won't be able to see it, but we were right in front of this, right in front of the house over there. And I didn't know this at the time. I only found it out later. But another border boy, John Ung, actually got his airsoft sniper, and he was right out there on the balcony, and he had it mounted on top of the railing, and he saw what we were doing, and I guess he thought that what we were doing was blasphemous. Granted, we shouldn't have been joking around like that. We probably took it a little too far, but our intentions were good. We wanted to stop the violence, and we were martyred by him.
So he was shooting you?
He was shooting us, and I didn't feel. I only got shot once, and it hurt a lot. I was like, what the heck was that? I thought maybe a gnat bit me. It hurt so bad. I think, were you shot at all, Joseph?
I was shot in the back multiple times, but luckily I had that backpack with all of my machete mounted on it and my axe.
You had all your...
And then
Really?
I had a staff too. I was like...
And then Lewis was with us too. I don't know if he got shot. If he did, he suffered in silence. Like a good martyr. But yeah, the cross was actually what took the brunt of the shots. I kept on like feeling like this tick, tick, hitting against the cross, and I thought this thing is protecting me right now.
You could have shot your like forehead or something.
I think that's actually where I was shot. The one time I was shot, it was right in the face.
I remember that.
But yeah, then we made it up to the border house. The main fight was where Igor used to sleep in the room downstairs.
Yep.
So we brought the cross in there. We pleaded with the savages, begging them to end their violence, and they pretty much had us all kneel down, and then they just peppered us with shots. Like we were honestly martyred that day. Like, it started as roleplay, but like we were really dedicated at the
You
end.
actually were.
Yeah, they made us vow something, I think. I don't know. Hopefully we didn't do it.
But yeah, I hope I don't think we vowed. I think we adamantly refused, and that's when they started shooting us.
You were the early martyr.
Honestly, yeah. Igor, he was the one who was shooting us the most.
Oh, man. That's classic right there. That's a pretty great border story.
I would never be able to have that kind of experience with any of my public school
Oh, I
friends.
know.
They would just call me weird.
That's a
and
little
kill me.
too niche. Like, you know,
Seriously.
that's funny. Wow. Yeah. Something I was just thinking of today when I was bringing all this stuff up here was we should, I enjoy writing stories, you know. I would love to just go find borders of years past, you know. We could even go back to like Father Borja and Father Gecko, they were all borders here, and just talk to them and get stories from them, and we could fill a book with the stories from this place, you know. Like, it'd be hilarious, you know. We could go, how far back? 2005 is when this place started boarding. We could go back, what's that, 16 years, and I mean, maybe not every year, but we could get stories from every generation, because, you know, I mean, the thing is, the generations are always changing every year. You know, you're getting new kids in, new kids out, but like, I think there's specific time frames of the border boys, like especially the attitudes of the border boys. I feel like when I showed up, kind of bad apple town down here, I was also one of them.
At first, but you changed your ways pretty quick.
Thank you. But, you know, I don't know this, but I heard, you know, back in the days of Dominic Davis, those guys, probably early 2010s, the majority of the border boys were very holy, very good guys. And it seems like, I don't know if it's just the changing of the times. You know what I think honestly could be it? I'm not saying all the kids suck now, but, you know, like, from what I've heard, borders were just better back in the day. I think it's just phones in general. I think it's phones specifically because kids get them at such a young age, you know, 14, 15, and then instantly, you know, I mean, I had a Facebook account when I was like 11 years old, 12 years old. You get exposed to stuff like that you should not be seeing. And kids, you know, guys from the let's say the generation before, early 2010s, they didn't really have that because they didn't, you know, phones were less common. And now everyone has a phone at a young age. It's kind of terrible how young kids get phones. Like 10-year-olds have unlimited access to the internet and all of the evils. What do you think about that?
Okay. This would be like one of those times where, you know, I pull a Father Solemn and say, I need to think about that a bit, you know, because that is a very good point to raise. Like, what is the cause of, like, the loss of quality with every successive generation? And
at the same time, I also feel like I'm just one of those, like, oh, it's the dang phones. But I think there's...
it's the phones!
At the same time, I think there's some merit to that. So, sorry to interrupt.
That's there is some truth to that because I only... Oh my. Yeah. Some aliens trying to tap into this. What was that?
It was the amp.
The App's
holding
plugged
that
in.
thought just until.
Jojo.
Oh!
Jojo, you better put that other amp on top of my PV amp, just because that cord is messed up. Continue. We don't need him. I mean, we do.
That's
We
hor-
do.
that's
We do
really
need him.
Horrible. Okay. Phones definitely contribute to it because especially if you're using your phone immediately for social media, which is like what a lot of kids do. They see other young kids who have phones and they see them like texting their friends and they're like,
That's good.
man, I wish I could do that too. Like, you know, look at like, and then or they'll be like looking over a friend's shoulder and they're browsing through their Instagram or Facebook feed and they're like, wow, look at all those people doing cool stuff and having fun.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that's like honestly what I did at first. Like I didn't actually get a phone to make my social media. I made my first Facebook account in private, so my parents had, no inkling even of like what I had done until like after I'd shown them. And before that, like I honestly think like I should not have done that in retrospect. Hold on, someone's coming upstairs.
Ooh, a surprise.
Hello?
Come on upstairs.
Is it Joe?
It was me.
It's Matthew. It's the producer.
Ah, yeah.
I want to ask your opinion of my $5,000 tuxedo.
$5,000?
Get in the Get in the shot.
Holy cow, we got content.
What do you think?
Get right back here, otherwise it may not.
I'm scared to touch you.
That's $5,000.
Yes, sir. The French cufflink suit.
I'm not. It's very soft. I'm not well versed in suits. It looks nice though. It's a really nice tie, and that's shiny.
Yeah, wow. Is that just meant to be like that, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just
Wow.
button the top.
You don't even. Ooh,
Right.
good though.
You could?
Yeah. That's very nice, Matthew. Look
That
at
is
Spiffy.
nice. Wow.
Is it just the? Well, hold on. Where'd you get that?
Hmm?
Where'd you get that?
I bought
Just now?
not just now, but a year ago.
Oh,
Testing it now, because I kind of forgot about it.
you just found this.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear it for
$5,000
Easter.
too.
I'm gonna
That you
wear this.
had lying in your belongings. Okay.
I'm gonna wear this for Easter midnight mass. So I was wondering what you guys think of this.
I think that's very fitting for Easter midnight mass. All right, get out of my shot. No, it's nice though. It's very nice.
Matthew just comes up with like new outfits.
That would be awesome.
That's for the fashion show podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to
Coming up soon.
Where were we?
You were talking
Phones.
about regretting getting a Facebook account at such a young age without your parents' permission.
Yes. Okay. So, the second you get social media, you know, your friend group, they're gonna be posting stuff. They're gonna be posting, like, the best highlights of their life. You know, that's
Yeah.
always what they do. Is you capture the moment that was really awesome, and then you post that, and then your friends are gonna see that and be like, man,
Oh man,
you know.
I can't believe he's at Mount Rushmore. That's not even a good
Yeah.
example. 'Cause Mount
Or
Rushmore
something
counts as
cool. It's
stuff.
like, man, I should be doing something cool. So they like search for something cool to do with their lives, because they just want to project that content on social media because it's like you're comparing yourself to your friends. Like, which of us is having the better time
All
right
right,
now?
how about this? It's like you're taking a good, wholesome experience and you're perverting it for your own gain
Mhm.
of, ooh, let me get my, what would the word be? Like your street cred, kind of. You know, like, this is how awesome I am. You know, Jose Nevada, was telling me that's, he said, like, he was going on a lot of trips a couple years ago, you know, out of the country and stuff, and he said, honestly, I kind of felt that way at times. Like, I was just posting pictures of things just to show off to my friends, and I don't like that. Not to, I mean, like, I've done it before too, honestly. Like, I've thought, oh, I'm going on a trip here. Oh, I'll be able to put that on Instagram, which is just like, it's gross. It's gross to think that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still have the Instagram, but it's mostly just for the guitar videos, which I feel okay about that because it's, you know, it's actual content, and I'm not just saying, look at how great I am at guitar, because people actually enjoy it, you know.
Do they?
I do. I personally enjoy those guitar videos.
Yeah. That's what Earl said. But what else can we go off of that? What do you think, Joe? Do you have anything to say? Sorry.
No.
Joseph doesn't have a smartphone yet, so
Not yet.
he's not you haven't been corrupted. Oh no.
Thanks.
He's got it now.
We're like demonstrating examples now. Watching me.
We're gonna watch Joseph
Impressionable.
get this is like the
Loose
great
monster.
ring.
Let's see what's on the
He's
plate.
literally spazzing, throw it back.
Ooh, Stream Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, I remember in high school feeling really out of the loop, because this is something I specifically remember. I was going into like an American history class or something. A lot of the kids in my grade. This would have been like my junior year, I think, and they're all like, "This is how dumb this is about to sound." Like, group chat was pretty lit last night, huh, guys? They're like, "Can you believe so and so put this on there?" And they're all laughing, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm missing out on such quality time." But once you actually get those things, and you spend an hour and a half scrolling Instagram, like Joe's doing right now.
He's on Messenger, alright? Leave him alone.
Then you feel you don't feel any more what's the word? Like connected, that's a good word. Well, you don't feel any more connected to your friends, and you don't feel better about yourself. Like I was talking to Clement Steffes the other day, and he's like, yeah, over the summer I'd wake up at like 9 and I'd lay in my bed and just scroll the social medias for like an hour and a half, and he said at that point I just wanted to go back to bed. Like I felt so disgusting and like just drained. But it is honestly like, I looked into this a lot over the summer. A lot of people who have done talks on how bad it is just for your brain, like the dopamine, the instant dopamine hit of seeing like, ooh, this person liked my so this person liked my post, or just the Instagram's even getting more. They're getting more cunning with it, because they'll like keep likes back from you, and then they'll just notify you with like 15 likes all at once. You're like, oh, 15. Whereas before it would have been like a slow trickle. Now it's like a big bang of dopamine. But I'm just looking at Joe. But I kind of lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I'm gone.
Okay, well I can jump in then. Another thing to add would be I think I'm correct in saying this, Anthony, is that you and me both grew up in like a different environment from those kinds of people, like that live for the clicks. Like you and me, for the important part of our childhood, like not like super early years, but like when did you move to your farm? Have you always just been on the ranch?
We've always been on the ranch.
Always been on the ranch. Like you don't really have many opportunities for like recording something you do or taking a picture of something you do at a ranch or a farm to get clicks.
And I mean, yeah, you're very disconnected, which is not a bad thing.
It's not. It's honestly like
It's a great thing. Yeah, especially if you have a lot of siblings and you don't live in town, because there's something I always kind of wished I had was just being able to like ride my bike to one of my friends' houses like a block away, because our nearest friend that we would go to his house was like 5 miles away. I mean, I could have rode my bike there, but I wasn't going to do that. But you have your siblings, and you're just playing outside all day. Like some of my earliest memories are me like playing with toy trucks in the dirt, and I'm Gimli, you're Legolas, you're Aragorn, and then we'd go into our little tree belt and like fight orcs and stuff. Joseph remembers that. We did that all the time.
I always made Mariah be Gimli.
Nice.
She was looking like a dwarf.
Joseph.
She looked more elfy than I did.
Or do now. Anyways.
No, it's funny that you brought up the story about wanting to go to your friend's house on bike. How far away did you say that was?
Like 5 miles. I remember you telling me something like. Tell what you're about to say.
Okay. So I actually traveled farther distance just to be with my friends because, yeah, I had probably reached the pit of loneliness on my
But
farm.
you don't really have siblings your age.
No, I don't.
Yeah. You have a sister your age?
I have a younger sister, Tanya. Katrina, she was pretty quick to becoming independent. You know, she didn't stick around long. She was just trying to get out of the house. Ben, Pete, Jerome, they stayed around for a while, but Jerome
They were young. They were older than you
they're
by quite
older
a
than
bit.
me, yeah. I mean, they're family. You know, age gaps don't really matter, but when they're at that stage where they need to be working, where they need to be making money, they don't have time.
And you're a
to
child.
Yeah.
You're just like, come play with me.
And they were gone a lot of the time with their friends because they could drive around. So I was stuck at home, just me and my younger sister. I was going I was like
So
a
how
cabin
many
fever.
miles?
Okay, I don't know it I'm not gonna say it in miles. I know it in kilometers. I'm Canadian. There's a 15 kilometers. I think the conversion rate is like 1.6.
That's a good bit, yeah.
So a little more than 5 miles, maybe.
Oh, for sure. That's more than
More?
5 miles. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I biked all that way. I only learned later that I'd actually done some illegal biking because I went on the interstate. Since it was a shortcut. I was just biking on the side of the road while semi trucks, huge combines are just like driving past me, and I'm just like, on my little bike, and my tires were half full at that time because I didn't even have a pump back at home. This was like an old junk bike from like.
How old were you?
I was probably 12 or 13 at the time, and I really just wanted to hang out with my friends that day. I was like, I want to go hang out with them, and this is where it's gonna get a little personal. I knew that if I went into town. Without my parents knowing about it, they were gonna find out pretty fast, and they were gonna know where to look for me, and they're gonna drive in and get me.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be like that runaway kid that when my parents come to pick me up and be like, "No, Dad, I can make it on my own now," and just just like bike off. But yeah, I had swiped some of my older brother's cigarettes from his shed,
Dang.
where he did some smoking. And this is like early in the morning, mind you. I was like, I'm planning this. I'm gonna leave early in the morning so I have enough time to get there. Hopefully, Mom and Dad won't notice I'm gone. I'm gonna hang out with my buddies, and they'll come probably at like afternoon, and then I'll go back home.
Pause.
Okay.
Can you Google kilometers to miles per hour, or kilometers to miles, and do 15 kilometers and see how many miles that is? Joe's got me. All right. Pause. Looks like this device is paused. Get out of here, you monkey. So Daniel. Sorry while I do this. Kilometers to miles. Hey, buddy. 1 kilometer. 15 kilometers. No, you biked 9 miles.
Oh my gosh.
9.3 miles. That's like. You must have been in good shape. I bet your calves are like.
I was so exhausted. I didn't even want to hang out with my friends by the time I got there.
Your calves were golden.
Yeah. You're like Greek
man.
gods' calves. Like something amazing.
Maybe it was probably not so much my muscle, but just my desperation and willpower. I was like, I'm done being on this farm. I need a social life.
So you were just like, can you draw a bath for me and get me some lemonade? And they're like, what are you doing showing up at my house?
They were like sleeping in that day. They're like, I don't want to hang out right now. What are you doing here?
Oh.
No, I mean, this is a joke.
Oh,
That's
okay.
That's not what happened. I mean, it's kind of what happened actually. It was morning. You're sluggish in the morning. If you're gonna sneak out with your younger underage friends and smoke cigarettes, it's something you do at nighttime when you're feeling a little more wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the morning you're like, bro, Mom made scrambled eggs and I gotta eat those. And then I watch cartoons for an hour.
I think it was actually Saturday morning too, so they didn't want to spend their day like that.
Boomerang's on, bro. I gotta watch Johnny Bravo. Hang out.
I'm just like, no, I got ciggies.
You don't realize what I've been through. I was 2 feet away from a semi-truck.
I got killed.
85.
I almost got killed multiple times. But yeah, I biked that distance. Those cigarettes were like really sweaty in my pocket. The cardboard box that they were kept in was soaked by the time I got there. But yeah, I made it to my friend Josh Landry's house. I might talk more about him later. I'm just gonna brush over it right now. I had two main buddies in my town of Davidson. It's Josh Landry and Dante. I can't remember his last name right now, but I mean, Josh was a pretty good guy for not being Catholic. Dante, not so much. He was like a shoplifter. He stole stuff from like local convenience stores in Davidson.
Solid.
Yeah, and he got like caught every time.
He wasn't very good at
it. So he was just a kid. So they just like kicked him out and said, "You're not allowed back in here ever again. Like we're not going to incarcerate you, but stay away." Yeah. So I got Dante, and I was like, "Yo, come with me." Like he was like, "Yeah." It was morning. He was like, "No, I just want to play Saints Row." Like no, like come on, I got something for us. And he's like, "All right, I'll tag along." Go to Josh's house after that. Get Josh out because his house was closer to the hardware store, and in the back of the hardware store, there was our special hangout spot, which was like stacks of lumber and stuff, where we could be like more hidden. And I was like, "All right, guys, come on, look, I got the cigarettes on a whole pack," and they're just like. Yeah, I was like, I thought it was something crazy. I didn't, think, oh wait, these people like aren't Catholics. Like, their dads probably just leave these things around and they can.
Yeah. One of two things. They either were like, I don't care. I have smoked cigarettes multiple times, or they were like, or at that time they were grossed out by cigarettes and they were like, no. But you would know better than me.
It might have been a bit of both. By that time, I don't think either any of them were doing weed. Or hitting bongs and stuff.
Heroin.
Yeah, it's like in the back they're just starting doing cocaine. They're like, get that weak stuff out of here. But yeah, they just didn't seem very enthusiastic, and I think what motivated them to come and to the lumberyard was more like me just being super excited about it, and they're like, okay, you love it, we'll come along, rather than like the cigarettes.
You seem rather sweaty.
I was like, come on guys, please smoke these cigarettes with me, I really need this.
It's like, we're not smoking those, they're all soggy. They won't even burn.
It was like all the tobacco was just like washed out of them. It's just paper ringlets at that point.
So y'all smoke them if you can light them.
Holding them over a fire and drying them out. But they came along. Dante, he puffed maybe like a quarter of one before he just started feeling sick. Josh didn't even try it. So I ended up smoking 3 cigarettes. But I didn't really know what I was doing, and I got really sick afterwards in the lumberyard. I was just dumb. I was trying to look cool in front of my friends. It was really stupid.
Did you fail?
I failed big time. I was actually happy when my dad showed up, and he was like, "What are you doing? It's time to go home." I was like, "Thank you." I was not making it back home.
That's hilarious, dude. That's such a great story. You wanted freedom so bad, and
it failed.
You wanted your friend's approval, and you got one of those things, I guess.
I'm not. I got nothing of what I wanted.
It just shows how children can be so taken by their passions and just be like, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to succeed. And you were driven. You went all the way to town, 9 miles away on the interstate.
With deflated tires.
And when you got there, you still had the energy to go to your friend's house and be like, come with me. I need this. Please. I'm so socially deprived. Do something bad with me.
Yeah, seriously, we could have got, cops drive by that lumberyard all the time. That was half the fun, was, running the risk of getting caught.
They're
by
like,
authorities.
bro, why don't we just get ice cream and hang out?
That's what we usually do. We'd go to Stedman's and just get ice creams, or Dante would try to shoplift and get in huge trouble.
Oh, man.
Dante, not again, bro.
Why did we... I'm trying to remember. Oh, we were talking about farm life. But we got on your great story. See, that's the cool thing about conversating with your friends, but you have it on a podcast or you have it recorded. You can just think, how do we get here? Oh, let me just go back and listen to it, because it is kind of funny how you can just kind of go and just keep going down, a story, and then that leads into another story, and you're like, an hour has passed, and I don't think we've gotten to the point of what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking something about the dangers of social media before that, but this is another good thing to build.
So we were talking about the dangers of social media, and then we kind of transitioned into how living in a rural area is kind of a
Health risk?
It's also different because when we were little, the phones weren't even really a thing yet. like obviously we had technology. Like I played video games, I did the computer games and stuff. But like, the phone was not a normal thing for children. It was like the flip phone, the slidey phone for adults. Maybe you get your kid a little flip phone and he's like a freshman in high school or something. Like I remember my oldest brother Corbin, he's like 10 years older than me. He had a phone, but it wasn't. Social media wasn't a thing. I think social media is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, because like YouTube didn't even come out by that time, right?
No, well, YouTube had been around for a while. I think like 2005 it officially came out, but I mean, all these apps and social media things they're evolving. Like YouTube's kind of turned into a bad guy, very censor heavy.
Yeah, before it just used to be like
cat videos and funny stuff.
No filter, put whatever you want up there.
Yeah, but now it's gotten used.
2005.
Yeah.
Nice. Producer.
Yeah, Matthew got fired pretty quick.
Yeah, Matthew had it up, but
That's so
hate working with Oriental businessmen. Always trying to show off their dang tuxes.
You want to buy this tux? I could use the money.
But we were talking about the Border Boys. Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about how different it could be because a lot of the kids, and I'm sure this was the case back then too. A lot of the kids who get sent here, I'm a prime example of that, are being exiled from their homes or schools. Most of the kids that were boarders that year, I was there, that I was friends with, like Ian, Matthew Isaacson, that one Gerard kid, remember Gerard?
Yeah.
Gerard didn't last very long. I think Gerard's from like Kansas City or something. Shout out to him.
He's gonna be like watching this in prison.
Possibly.
Like, I know this kid. Oh, he's talking bad about me. I guess I deserve it.
It's really good for reporting your mother to the authorities for child abuse.
What if she was actually abusing him?
She wasn't.
Oh, really?
She was just being pretty strict on. Well, I don't want to talk about him right now, but from what I gathered, his mom was just trying to
strict
get him to live an
mom?
upright Catholic life.
He
And
was like, go to
no.
jail.
Go to jail.
Oh,
Do not
man.
pass go, my homie. Yeah. It's pretty horrible thing to do. Sorry, first thing I thought it was Monopoly.
That's okay. That's fine.
That's what I thought of.
But I mean, either way, even regardless of the Border Boys and their prior disposition to coming here, the school, I think, for a kid who wants to even partially kind of, because a lot of kids who come here, their family's Catholic, a lot of kids aren't really practicing Catholic side great. Just because, you're a kid, you don't really have time for that, you think, because you have, either girls, your friends, different, just different pursuits as a child. You're not really thinking ahead or thinking of eternity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you even try a little, the school's going to have a good effect on you. Being with the bishop, being with Bishop Hivrunis and the sisters and all the priests who are really great, like, it's had a very profound effect on me in my life. Are you making fun of me?
No, I was just.
I'm kidding. But like, a lot of my extended family and neighbors still kind of, to this day, it's been like 3 years since I went to school here, kind of harbor a grudge against my mom for sending me here because of the situation. They don't really, I was in a bad situation and I didn't want to come here because it was the middle of my senior year and I wanted to graduate with my friends. But having had some distance from it now and knowing all the great friends I have from here, I'm very grateful that she did send me here, because otherwise I wouldn't have met, I would have met you guys probably every once in a while just through Mariah, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made the really, Joseph's making a wax candle right now, or a wax match, but I wouldn't have made the really great friends, that I did, and just being in the Catholic atmosphere, being close to priests, they're very good examples. The bishop I worked with I helped one of the sisters that year in her classroom, which was really fun. I helped little Joe, who cheated on his spelling bee test, but that's
Multiple times.
I didn't report him, but
But that was broadcasted for all viewers.
anyways, yeah, nice. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
That is definitely huge. Is having like those examples. I don't know so much about Sister Cecilia. You know, she is a great example, but for being a border boy, you know, like the person, huh?
Joseph's just being a goofball.
Okay.
I'm lighting this candle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's get this out of the way first. Then maybe you can pay attention.
This doesn't even like smell good anymore. It just smells like phosphorus in here because of all the added matches you've been striking.
Alright,
You
okay.
didn't even.
We'll let that sit for a while.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Example is huge because, like you said, like when you're a teenager, like you're not gonna go looking for that stuff. You're not gonna think, you know,
I could use
I
some
need
good-
structure in my life.
I need to be a young man of character if I'm gonna be able to.
I'm gonna set my alarm for 6
withstand the
o'clock
devil.
every day. I'm gonna work out in the morning. I'm gonna do some spiritual reading. You know, like these things don't
Yeah.
exist to a teenager.
Yeah, like, you know, we're so capricious. We follow our impulses, and none of them lead us.
Explain
in
that
direction.
word.
Yeah, what is that
Someone
word?
impulsive.
Okay.
What do you about that?
That's a good one because I mean I've read that, but I don't think I ever. You know, the good practice is to look up the word you don't know, but I don't think I've ever looked that one up. Anyways, continue.
Okay. But you need that rock that you can just cling to, you know? Kind of like how, you know, the church, you know, we're built on the rock that is the Pope, but, you know, we don't have the Pope right now.
We explained that a little bit in one of our earlier podcasts.
Nice. Set up a contest. Seat is vacant, so next best thing we have is the bishop.
And the
And
priest.
yeah, and the priests. And I'm gonna say this right now, like Father Geckel was, you know, like our example.
Yeah.
I mean, you were here when he was quartermaster, right?
No, I wasn't, but he was still
No?
here when I was here, so we still got to hang out with him, just not as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd been around him at boys' camps. For me, it was more, for me personally, as a little kid, it was more Father Gronenthal just from seeing him at multiple boys' camps over in Colorado. But yes, Father Geckel as well. You know, like, we hung out with him a lot that year I was there. We did airsoft with him. We played, like, board games with him. I played guitar with him a few times, which was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guitar player, but anyways.
Okay. Well, Father Geckel would have been the one that like inspired me to take a more active interest in my faith, anyways. Because just like one example of something that he did, very, very external, but do you know those pictures that we have in the high school of the the Crusaders, like. Father Geckel is honestly a modern day Crusaders. And like when I think of like saints that like inspire me the most by their example to be a better Catholic, you know, like granted, you know, priests, abbots, like monks, they're all cool, but I really just love those warriors.
Yeah.
You know, like Saint Fernando III. Like honestly, it's so awesome being able to say that I actually acted in a play as him, and like I actually got to study a little more of his life. I got to be him.
Yeah.
It's like that's such a cool saint, you know. He
Yeah.
wasn't
What'd you get?
like, you know, king of Spain that participated, led a huge part of the Spanish Reconquista. Never got injured or cut once in battle because God, yeah, pretty cool fact about him. He was just like fighting to reclaim the Iberian Peninsula, which rightfully belonged to Christianity, and like that's manly example is what really struck a chord in me. It's like, dang, you know, some Catholics are really awesome, you know.
Remember the talk he gave us in the church, the boys' talk? Remember that?
Yeah.
We were all sitting in the front and on the right side, and he just went on the other side of the kneelers or the where you receive communion, and he gave a talk. I don't remember very much about it. I just remember it was about thinking of Jesus as like your captain and loving him. What do you remember, Joe?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
It was when we consecrated the house, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember any of this? Maybe we might not have been that.
No, he was. He was just sleeping during the
Pretty
whole
young.
talk.
I don't know. I wish I could recall it.
It's
but
okay.
that
Well,
doesn't matter.
I'll try to recall it as best I can. It was basically, he said, like for young men, because in Catholicism and in, you're reading prayers, things like that, there's a lot of, loving God. You should love God more than anything else. And he said it's kind of hard for guys to wrap their head around that because, we can kind of be, we're not like as emotional as women are, or as huggy, or as showing of emotion. So he said, a way to think about it is, think of Jesus like, not as like a gushy, oh I love you, but it's like the way you would follow your captain, like anywhere. If it's either in battle or like your ship captain or a leader you have, where it's basically just thinking of loving in that way. It's a more manly way for us to connect with it, I guess.
Mhm.
But it was very good. And then I remember all the boys were like, "Father, all your sermons should be like that at church." He's like, well, there's more than just young men at the church.
Yeah.
It has to be a little more general than that for like the ladies, the moms and stuff.
Just need to have.
That is how that. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Well,
Okay.
That is like the perfect way though. When your target audience is like young men,
Yeah.
like we are the church militant. It's easy to forget about that. Like when you're Catholic, sometimes it's just like, yeah, I go to mass, I say my rosary, get it out of the way, and then I do my own thing.
Yep.
Like Sunday Christians, pretty much.
Yep.
But like when you have like Father Geckel's sermons, being part of the church militant, being like soldier of Christ. I mean, that's what confirmation does for us. Once you have that mentality of like, I should think of it less as more. I'm just, doing, what's required of me.
Doing the day to day.
Yeah, you want to go above and beyond, the call of duty because you are a soldier. You
Yeah.
want to be awarded those medals for Christ and like you want to be promoted, and you're gonna do that by going above and beyond.
Nice. Yes.